Welcome back to Keeping Up with the Bears. I am Maddie Grassi, and today we have a lot to talk about. To start, did anyone watch The Bachelorette on Tuesday night? Oh my goodness, the saga continues. Claire being replaced with Tayshia was just the start of the drama. The remaining men were in for a rude surprise when a limo full of men ready to court Tayshia arrived. It was an episode packed full of testosterone and hostility. In other current events, if you haven't heard, Joe Biden is our 2020 presidential elect. Congratulations! Now that I have you guys up to speed of what's going around in our world around us, I'm going to pass it over to Allie for our chat with PSAC.
Hi Bears, welcome back to our Chat with PSAC segment. This week we will be discussing why college classes are the same price whether you're taking them online, hybrid, or face-to-face. We will also be taking a trip down memory lane back to 1985 for our MCC Alumni Corner with none other Kevin Martini. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, Bears.
I am Kevin Asman, and I am the Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I assist in the management of our academic programs. Well, so the college sets its tuition rates based on contact hours, and whether a class is face-to-face or online, it should have the same contact hours, and that means that it should be requiring the same level of engagement and interest from both faculty and students. And so just because we've moved to an online environment doesn't mean that the learning outcomes from the class have changed. You know, somebody is taking, let's say, an English 101, for instance. At the end of English 101, they should still possess, if they've done it successfully, they should still possess the same skills, knowledge, and ability that they would if they had taken that in a hybrid or in a face-to-face environment. It's just taking that instruction and moving it into a different mode. And it's a mode that works for a lot of people because it does have more flexibility built into it. And that flexibility increases access, and access improves our ability to serve a broader population, which means that there's an element of equity in that because we can help to reach people who otherwise wouldn't be able to take classes. And that's very important to our mission as a community college. Now, so why is the tuition the same? The tuition is the same because of that expected level of engagement and because of the expected outcomes. And that engagement might just have shifted. You know, maybe instead of sitting in a lecture, you're being expected to watch a lecture or take part in a webinar or watch a video or read more. And that's okay. There are multiple ways of delivering content and engaging students. But at the end of the day, the college has built its educational system around learning objectives. And every class, no matter what mode it is supposed to meet those learning objectives.
To those students who are struggling with the hybrid and online classes right now, and they want to go back to face-to-face, what kind of information or helpful tips would you want to give them?
Well, first of all, I would say be open-minded about the possibilities of online and maybe sit down and make a list of your individual challenges. What are you facing? Like maybe you don't feel as comfortable with the technology. And then look for supports that the college has to help you with that. So if you don't feel comfortable with the technology, we have ways of getting you support, especially if you don't have the technology that you need. Let your instructors know that. They can help direct you to resources where maybe you need a webcam, for instance. We've helped students get stuff like that. So figure out what those challenges are and look to see if there are resources there that can help you get through that. And then look at the advantages of it too. And remember that, you know, there's some trade-offs with this. You have a lot more flexibility. You have more flexibility to manage your time because especially for the fully asynchronous classes, you know, personally, I don't mind sitting up late at night and doing schoolwork in my sweatpants. I enjoyed that. And so to have that flexibility was something that really matters to me. So a lot of times in my experience, you know, I was an English professor for a very long time. What causes people hesitation is their fear. And don't let your fears rule you in your approach to this. And if you really feel that there's a barrier there that you need help with, reach out to your advisor, talk to your instructor. We can get you the help. There's a lot of support at this college for people who are struggling right now. So that's the biggest thing. The other thing I would say is don't be intimidated by the technology. It's not as complicated as it seems. And if you just take some time to poke around and press some buttons, chances are you're not going to break anything. It'll be okay. And then if you get confused, the point of contact is your instructor.
Being born and raised in the Flint area, attending Mott, traveling the country, and having worked at many different places, and accruing all the information and the experience that you have, and then coming back to Mott. Kevin, what's the greatest thing about Mott that you knew when you first started at Mott and that you know now, and that it kind of holds true now that you work here?
That Mott is a pillar of this community in a way that a lot of other schools are not. And it's built into the fabric of this city, and that it's recognized as that by almost everyone. And the fact that, our growth projects have been around providing community support and community services, and making sure that people in this area know where to turn for where they want to go with the next phase of their life, or even where they need to go for their next meal. That's what really drew me back here, was that sense of mission and serving this community. And a lot of schools do that well across the country. I don't know of any school that has that so ingrained into its culture as Mott does. And I can tell you that, when I was younger, if Mott had not been there for me when I was coming out of high school, and this is at a time when things were starting to get bad in Flint, my life would not have taken that trajectory that it did. And so it's always been there for the people of this city, in this area, as that institution of hope. And that's what really means so much to me about this place.
My name's Kevin Martini. I'm the Drives Division North America Quality Director at a company called Broza, and we do mainly powertrain components, including cooling fan modules, electric brake boosters, things like that. I went from 1985 to 1987. You're taxing my memory here, Allie. And I did get an Associates of Arts, I believe it was. It was just a 2-year degree, and so 1987 is when I graduated.
Holy moly. So we're going back in memory lane here.
Yes, we are.
So how did you get to Mott? Did you graduate from high school and then went immediately, or how did that work?
Well, actually, after high school, I had a full-time job, and I wasn't really too interested in college at that moment. And it took me about 2 years before I realized that I thought I was in a dead-end job, but it was a job that I couldn't excel beyond what those positions were. So I decided, maybe university and college would be the route to go. I chose Mott because, I was sort of I was trying to mature at the time also. So it gave me an opportunity to understand what college was about and to see if it was actually what I wanted to do. And it's a good way to understand if college is for you. I mean, it really is a way to do that. Mid 80s was, we're coming out of the 70s, thank God. And, I was a child of the 80s, that was right when I was starting to enter my late teens, early 20s. And the economy automotive was shrinking in Flint. So those kind of jobs were leaving. So there wasn't too many opportunities to just go work at GM and work on the line and be a union person or or hourly. Yeah, so I graduated from Mott. I did my two years, like I'm in prison or something. But no, I did 2 years at Mott and got my associate's degree. Then I went into University of Michigan Flint, and that's where I got my 4-year degree from. And and then after University of Michigan Flint, I realized I wanted to, maybe the travel bugs sort of hit me, which I think that I've done a lot of traveling in my life. And that's when I really thought I wanted to get out of Flint, and I wanted to explore what was out there, not only Flint, but the United States. I wanted to see what was in Europe, Asia, wherever. And so then I joined the military. I thought that was a good opportunity. I was an intelligence analyst for the military, and I did 2 years in Germany, participated in the Gulf War, the first Gulf War in the early 90s. And then I did 2 years in Germany, and then a year of basically training for my job, and then also a year in Korea. And then I resigned and came out of the military after that.
Well,
okay. So basically, when I was at General Motors, I was a vehicle systems engineer for exterior components like bumpers, glass, lighting, things like that. And so we opened up our first assembly plant in Shanghai in 1998. So I was there in 98, 99 for a period of time when we opened that plant. And then I came back, worked basically till 2004 in North America, and then went back to China from late 2004 all the way to 2012. And then I came back in 2012, and I enjoyed the job in China more than I did in the US. So I basically spent about 14 months in the US, and then quit General Motors and went back to China working for a startup, brand new car company. So it was a very exciting time being ground up with a brand new car company, and I was the senior program manager for that company, and I did that for about 5 years, and then came back to the US in 2017. Then I had an opportunity with another brand new car company in Vietnam, and I was the director of supplier quality, hired for that, and I did a year in Vietnam, and then so that's when I came back in late 2000. Geez, I'm losing track of time here. 19 or early 2019, and then started at Broza in February of 2019 as their North America quality director.
So you have a pretty decorated career track. I mean, you've kind of done everything in the automotive industry, abroad and at home, and that's absolutely amazing. I mean, coming from someone who was born and raised in Flint, Michigan, went to Mott, served our country in a war, got out of that, and has 20 plus years of high level experience at an automotive company. That's just absolutely astounding. And you have roots at Mott. So yeah. Right now, there's a lot of students that are struggling with the whole virtual concept, and we do have a lot of students that are first generation students from Flint. Is there any advice that you would give them through all the things that you have been? Is there something that has stuck out to you in all of your lifetime that you would want to tell these students?
I would say stick with it. Don't quit because you get frustrated. Power through it. Your whole life will be like that. I mean, you're not only when you're doing university, you're gonna run into areas where you're frustrated, and there might be an easier way out. Don't take it. Take the hard way. And then once you're in your career, they say learn in your 20s, earn in your 30s, and then gain in your 40s and 50s. And I've gone through that, and it's true. I mean, don't be in a rush to be the top person in the company and miss the experiences, because the experience is what will drive your later career. And so just power through it, stick with it, And and Mott sort of taught me that, because I was, in the early 80s or mid 80s, I was working at that bread company. It was very manual labor, waking up at 2 a.m, things like that. So, but you just gotta, that was the easy way out. I could have quit a few times when I had exams and the pressure of college and everything. It would have been very easy to do, but just power through it. That's probably my biggest advice.
So we have a special request for our sign off. Can you say "I love you, Mott Bears" in Mandarin?
Oh, geez, it'd be "Wo ai mo ta xiang."
Yay! I love it. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Wo ai mo ta xiang.
Moai wota sheng.
Yeah, and whoever's from China that's watching this is going to go, his tones are totally wrong.
Awesome segment, Allie. Well, Bears, keep an eye out for some upcoming movie showings and bingo through student life. And don't forget to tune in next week at the same time and place for another episode of Keeping Up with the Bears. Stay safe, everyone.